And welcome back. In the last video, I forgot to change a couple of things, so we're going to fix that now if you still have this open. If not, look for the super overpower, and if you can't find it, you hit Control P and type in super overpower, and you should find the script that we made. And there you go, it's opened up now. So here on line 24, unless you made some modifications since then, this little self-parent right here that we talked about, where it's the player who used the mobile effect on the weapon ability, we need the victim to say the ouch table. So really, we just need to grab the target up there and type in target as the object that's going to have the NPC speech above it. So with that fixed right there, let's just go ahead and save it. Get good. Get used to saving things. And then now we're going to move on to the data tables that really cover what weapons and armor and shields and I think arrows and other things do. So let's go ahead and find that. And where would that be? Well, it's in the scripts, globals, right down to the static data, and then we'll close it up there. And then we're going to go down and we are going to find equipment stats, which is right here. Okay? And if we open up this file, what I want to do here in Sublime is here by the number 1, we're going to click this little arrow here to shrink this table down. And you can see you got the arrows and jewelry types and stuff, but all of the equipment stats are inside of the equipment stats table. Now, there's some subtables here, and again, I'll shrink these down. We're going to go ahead and click this little down arrow here to shrink that one down. We're going to shrink the base weapon stats, the armor class, the armor stats, the shields. Okay. So inside of base weapon stats, these are the 5 subtables that will make up what your items do mechanically by the numbers. So this base weapon class and this base weapon stats, there's a base armor class and a base armor stats. You'll see there's 2 class files and 2 stat files. The base weapon class will have information for like fist weapons, right? The accuracy, the critical strike chance, the speed, what weapon skill it uses, what damage type it is, and what weapon hit type is it. Melee. And so when you use a dagger, okay, a dagger has a dagger class. And right here's the information for the dagger. So on for swords. For the two-handed weapons, you'll see they have an extra variable called two-handed weapon. That's how you can check the data stats to see if an item's two-handed or not. And that helps with damage calculations and whatever else, right? Like our two-handed tactics takes advantage of reading this value a lot. Okay, so we really don't want to change the weapon class. All we want to do is we want to create a new weapon stat table for our mace, okay? And what I'm going to do is I could just scroll down here, or I can just, click right here on the table and then hit Control F and then type in mace. And in here we are, we found the mace table. So the easiest way to make an edit is to make sure when you copy the table, you get from this bracket, this mace right here, this bracket all the way down to the comma 2 and this bracket. So you're grabbing this whole chunk or table and we're going to copy it. And then right after the comma, I'm going to have the cursor. You see where it's right there. I'm going to give myself some space. I'm going to paste that in. I'm going to clean this up to match. And then the next thing we're going to do here is, what was our mace called? Let's take a look at what it was looking for. We changed this to weird how this got changed. I'm gonna hit Control Z. Okay, yeah. When I record, it hits a macro and it flips the table. It's weird, but anyways, this is what you should be looking at. And the mace of crushing is what we're looking for. And that's what this table's referencing. This right here, this variable, is it's referencing the equipment stat. and the name of our table, which is this guy right here. So let's take a look at some of the variables inside of our Mace of Crushing. I'll highlight this here. So we have the weapon class. We just talked about every weapon has like its own class or it shares one. You can see how this hammer is a blunt, and so is, this dagger has the dagger class. So we have variance, we have attack, we have min skill needed. I could set that to 50, and you couldn't equip it or until you had like 50 skill in blunts or bashing skill. And so pretty much here's where you add your primary and your secondary abilities. Now, since we said this one is going to be a little bit more heavier and we want it to deal more damage, I'm going to raise this up to 16. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to change the weapon speed to make it a little bit slower, adding a half a second to its speed. And then I think what I want to do next is that this overpower, we need this to be the super overpower ability is what we're looking for. So we'll go back to our equipment stats after copying that, or you could have just manually typed it in. But now we have our super overpower and mortal strike. Okay, but let's say that we want to have a different ability because this mace already has mortal strike and kind of overpower. So I want this one to be a little bit different. Let's go up to the dagger here and we'll grab bleed. We'll come back down here just to make sure that it's spelled right. We don't typo. That's why I copied it. And now we have bleed as the secondary and super overpower as the primary. It does a little bit more damage. It's a little bit slower. And now we just created our very own equipment stats file for our new weapon. And now, even though it used to be this mace, it now functions differently. It's a little slower. It has different abilities. And we even programmed in some fun little speech text things, which could be damage modifiers. It could be anything. This example is just showing you how to edit, mod it, insert new stuff, whether it's them barking random roars and ouchies or anything else. So that is pretty much it. And this wraps up everything you pretty much need to make a custom weapon from beginning to end. Okay, so you could do it as simple as just this template change. Okay, and then you don't need to make new mobile effects. Okay, and you don't need to make any new equipment stats unless you would like to make a new equipment stat and then modify what primaries and secondaries using the list of weapon abilities and make your own styles of weapons. Like maybe Eldir has their own version of maces, and then maybe the Eastern Plains, their maces and their recipe, they have a different style of mace, and they both have different weapon abilities on both, right? So you could like theme it out and make different things like that as well, right? So the sky's the limit here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this all together. We're going to save everything. We're going to load it up in the next video, and then we're going to go try it out. So again, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you learned something and enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.